This episode is presented in partnership with Swissnex in Brazil. Swissnex connects Switzerland with some of the world's leading innovation hubs and helps Swiss startups expand internationally. In Brazil, Swissnex helps ventures identify opportunities, build strategic collaborations, and engage with Latin America's vibrant innovation landscape with a focus on climate, nature-based solutions, the bioeconomy, clean energy, and beyond. Explore their work through the link in the show notes.
Who do you think produces our food and stewards our forests that are crucial for our planet's survival? It's a systemic issue, right? It's hard to solve, but you can solve it.
Welcome to the Swisspreneur Show, a podcast about startup stories and learnings from experienced entrepreneurs. If you enjoy listening to our show, make sure to follow the podcast and leave a rating. And now, here's your host, Merle.
Welcome to a new Swisspreneur episode. Today I'm sitting here with Rahel from Reilo, and I'm very excited to have you. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Very excited to be here.
Today we'll talk about Reilo, your company, but also about everything that you basically touch with that company, which is the climate tech area, the carbon market, and I'm very excited to talk to you about it. But first, I want to know a bit more about you, because your path into founding Reilo is maybe not the most typical one, I would say. You started more in commercial roles and growth roles, and then you moved into the climate work. And I mean, now you're building your own fintech company. So I would love to, well, first of all, I would like to know, who are you? Who are you? What's your background? And then maybe, how did you come into where you are today? Maybe you can take us through your journey a bit.
Yes, sure. So, hi everyone, I'm Rahel, and I've grown up in the Swiss mountainside in Appenzell-Ausserrhoden, so I'm already nature-based, so to say. But literally, the last couple of years, I've been working in smallholder finance. Also, through my bachelor thesis, I've been in Kenya, and through my master thesis, I've been in Tanzania, working with smallholder finance on the big challenge, on the smallholder finance market challenge. And basically, I had my aha moments on two different ends. The first was before I went to Tanzania, I read obviously a lot of papers about microfinance and how well it works, how much money has already been deployed to smallholder farmers. And then I was sitting there with smallholder farmers on the table and asking them about loans and other financial products. And I was literally shocked because they have never heard of any opportunity they have. And also when they had opportunities, they were always rejected because it's too much of a risk for the bank and they do not have any bankable assets that they can use as a guarantee for their loans. So they are basically invisible for the financial system currently. The second one was when I've seen their forest plots, because they do harvest crops on agricultural land, but they also own forest land. And these forests, they are very crucial for biodiversity because they are bothering natural reserves, which have the biggest biodiversity hotspots on Earth. So buffer zones, so to say. And I've seen that, but the incentive structure is just very wrongly put, because currently they say, the state says you can't harvest any natural trees, you cannot cut them down or sell them through the timber market. So there is no current market yet. But when a farmer needs money for school fees, or for like when someone is sick in the family, then they need to go to their land, what they own, and then they need to cut down trees. And this illegal lodging is a big issue in these areas. But also because the incentive is just wrongly put, because currently what they can make money out of is illegal lodging and the timber market. So they are lodging and need the space to plant eucalypt and pine, that's trees from the north, that are drinking a lot of water, destroying the soils, destroying the biodiversity, and also incentivizing to plant monocultures, because these are the only trees they can sell through the timber market. So basically the last couple of years, I was following two challenges. The first one, how can we solve this $230 billion smallholder finance market? And the second, how can we make living nature bankable so it can be used as a guarantee or any other asset?
So you've worked closely with smallholder farmers, especially like we mentioned in Tanzania and the Amazon. But what exactly did you see there that made you think this is not just a problem, this could be a company?
So I would like to ask the question back to the audience. Who do you think produces our food and stewards our forests that are crucial for our planet's survival? Smallholder farmers. They produce 30% of the world's food, and they could own 375 billion in nature assets. To do all that, obviously money is required. And we are talking here about the $320 billion market in demand. Fact is, 80% of these farmers have no access to any type of loans. But that's what they need the most to react to the climate shocks and become more productive on their field. And I like to reference here Chiu. He's the local president of the OCB. That's an umbrella organization for cooperatives in the Amazon region of Brazil. And he actually said it explained it quite well. The Brazilian financial system, for example, they are built to exclude smallholder farmers because they have no bankable assets, but their wealth is in their forest and the things they are producing there. So it's a systemic issue, right? It's hard to solve, but you can solve it. And if you solve it, you can unlock lots of profits on the one hand, and on the other hand, also the impact for both smallholder farmers, financial systems, and also the whole world.
And when did you found Reilo in that time span?
That was actually just a year ago. I mean, legally founded, was beginning of the year. But I started testing 2 years ago because I went in 2023. I went back to Tanzania for around 3 months, and did a very big market research, talked to many banks, talked to the government, talked to more farmer groups and smallholder farmers, and really validated if there is a solution that we can kind of build with Reilo. So, and it was very successful because that's why we are here now. And we then started to test Reilo with the first test run with 7 smallholder farmers. We started a year ago, so January a year ago. And now we are just finalizing this pilot that we have done.
So now you explained already what Reilo does, but how does it look like? So A, as a farmer, and B, as a bank, for example, what is the product? Like, what do I look at?
So the product, it's quite easy to explain or not if you understand the carbon market. But what we are looking at, or basically how we do it, is we are going to these countries such as Tanzania and Brazil. We're looking for local partners that already are in contact with these farmer groups. For example, in Brazil, we met a startup. They're doing a traceability solution for farmer groups, and they're already working with around 1,000 farmers. So first of all, you need to have the connection there, and then you get introduced to the farmer group, and then you are sitting there with them and looking at their opportunities based on carbon projects, for example. So what's their situation? What's their outline? And then we are going into co-designing. For example, in Brazil, which was very, very interesting, is they are all açaí farmers. It's a açaí cooperative, and açaí is actually a commodity that is growing in the forest, right? So basically, there is more açaí if there is an intact ecosystem. So it's a product that is also one of the biggest export product there. So it's an industrial product. But what currently is happening, there's 90% of this fruit is bio-waste. And currently bio-waste of the açaí is just left on the street to decompose. But a huge multi-billion-dollar opportunity for these farmer groups. Because when you turn this bio-waste into biochar, this already has a value that you can sell. And then when you apply it to the soil, you have a long-term carbon sink with high quality. And that's what we are doing. We are basically building carbon projects. Then we help them issue the credits with international standards. And then the future payments for these projects, we turn, they are so-called offtake agreements, and we turn those offtake agreements into legal and bankable collateral for the bank. So the product, back to your question, how does it look like?
Yeah.
It's a contract. It's a bio contract where someone who wants to buy these tons of CO2 in the future tells us, I'm buying you these tons of CO2 for this price in the future. And this is a contract that the bank accepts as a guarantee. If they don't yet, we are still figuring out on how this product must look like. But there is another contract on top which can make this collateral even harder. And this would be an insurance that we can deliver this amount of carbon in the future. But it looks like two different papers.
And now I wonder, because so for example, you said in Brazil that's a charcoal project, right? Is it, but would it be the same in Tanzania, or do you really see a difference per group?
Good question. So there is always different ecosystems. For example, in Tanzania, we're talking about Miombo forest, which is a different ecosystem than the rainforest in the Amazon, obviously. So there are also other opportunities based on the carbon. For example, in Tanzania, we're talking with smallholder farmers. They own land where they are harvesting crops, like potatoes and beans. And they have land where they have natural forest. And as I said in the beginning, the incentive structure is not very well put there because the forest, the natural forest, is threatened by deforestation. So that's why there, what we are currently testing is biodiversity restoration and forest conservation. That's the carbon project we are building there.
Yeah.
In the Brazil case, as I just said, there is a huge opportunity in açaí. Açaí is a commodity that grows in the forest.
Yeah.
And it grows the best, and that's a beautiful thing, if there is an intact ecosystem. But, and there is the huge but also a very good opportunity for the farmer groups, it produces a lot of bio-waste. So the opportunity there is literally to turn this bio-waste into biochar, not charcoal, and then put it into the soil, so to have this long-term carbon removal. And that's another use case, right?
Yeah.
But what is very nice in the Brazil case is next to that, it can also help us kind of build for these farmer groups a foundation where they can turn their cooperatives into agro-industries as well. So a social bioeconomy infrastructure that can help them also have more power on the açaí market, also have better prices in the end. And that's what we want, right? Because at the moment, the açaí is as another industry. They are the big ones who get the biggest revenues, and then there are the farmers who doesn't get anything.
Yeah. But it's so cool that you found this opportunity to basically see what they already have and how they can turn it into something that can profit them. That's really cool.
Yes. And I mean, that's what we are. That's not what we're doing, right? That's what we are co-designing with the smallholder farmer groups. Very important. Yeah,
that's true. Yeah, and and basically enabling them with that. What would you say, because you're kind of like sitting between farmers and the banks, right? What is, like, which world was the hardest to get moving in the beginning?
So definitely banks, because the demand for finance is there. We also tested it in Tanzania and with 7 farmers, and after 6 months, it grew 7-fold. Currently, we have around hundreds on our wait list. So the demand really is there, and it's validated. On the bank side, it was quite tough because we started with commercial banks in Tanzania, and we are already in discussion with them for a couple of years now. But they have the mandate to innovate, but we found a loophole because there are a lot of fintechs out there that are actually like fund structures or impact investment banks, and they we're able to collect a lot of money for a specific purpose. For example, we're talking with a fintech in Brazil that has the purpose to deploy capital for smallholder farmers in the Amazon region. But their current challenge really is to access a pipeline, a de-risked pipeline of smallholder farmer groups. And that's where we come in. We can help them with building up these farmer groups, and we de-risk them with carbon removals as loan collateral.
And you as a company, you are based here in Switzerland, right?
Yes.
And how many are you, actually? How many people are you in the company?
We are currently 2 co-founders, and we are just onboarding our CTO. So we are then 3 co-founders in the team.
Yeah.
We are working with a bunch of advisors currently, and we have our team in Tanzania and our partners in Brazil.
And how did you meet your co-founder?
So my co-founder is Patrick, and we know each other since quite a while already. We have been together in high school, and a year ago we met for lunch, and I pitched him Reilo, and he found it very interesting because he was currently in a consulting job, and he always wanted to move more into the sustainability area, but it was quite hard to find jobs there, and he always wanted to do something where you can really see really impact. And then he started. I said, okay, why don't you start? I have a very big application coming up for the venture startup competition. And then he said, yeah, why not? But it's due in a couple of days, you know. So he came and he started all in, and he found it very interesting. And we moved in the startup competition to another round. So it was a success. And yeah, that's how we started. And I think we are a very good team because I'm more kind of bringing in all the opportunities. I'm working in those countries. I've been able to mobilize all the stakeholders that are now working with us. I'm in the fundraising area, and he loves to crunch the numbers. So he's more on the back end side, actually kind of delivering everything we need to sustain all those opportunities I'm bringing in.
Nice. That sounds like a good teamwork.
Yes.
And what would you say, because you work in very different markets, right? I mean, you operate out of Switzerland, you work in Tanzania and in Brazil, which are like very different worlds. What changes for you when you work across different markets, or how do you need to approach them differently?
So for me, always, maybe also on a personal note, what changed with me, changing through the different markets, is basically you need to have different languages, right? You need to understand with who you're talking to, because you're in another country, there is another culture, there is another language, and there are different stakeholders that understand things differently. So my first time in Tanzania, I luckily had an NGO on board, which already have like 10 years experience working with smallholder farmers, but I was basically talking to the smallholder farmer like I would talk to a businessman here in Switzerland, right? And it's just very hard then to understand. And during those years, and I'm very proud because just last month we have been in Brazil, and I felt like I've been really better in this area on how to communicate with smallholder farmers, on what to say. And because the thing is, if smallholder farmers don't understand what you are explaining there, it's not a success. The project won't be a success. So you need to have smallholder farmers on board, and they need to understand it. There's something I can tell in this regard. You know, in Tanzania, for example, biodiversity doesn't exist in Swahili.
The word.
Oh,
wow.
It's a Western concept, right?
Yeah.
So what we did is to make them understand on what we are talking about is actually we went with them to walk from forest plot to forest plot owned by these farmers, and we let them speak. Where do they see the value of the forest? And I was very excited to hear when they said, I mean, we need to have more indigenous trees producing fruits, because then monkeys are coming back, right? And they have the environment to live there, they have the food there. And I mean, that's biodiversity, right?
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yes.
That's such a beautiful, not metaphor, but just a beautiful image.
Yeah.
I really love that.
But back to your question, it's for me, moving through markets, it's always a challenge because the stakeholders there are different. And this is the biggest work we are doing, right?
Yeah.
We are connecting to stakeholders, we are bringing them together, and we are kind of translating in between to make the model work.
I think that's also a really good tip for listeners that are operating in different markets to really learn the language of the people that you're talking to, and not specifically in the linguistic way, but more in the cultural way, and how do they understand their work, and that you know how to talk to them.
This is very important. Always understand your opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like when you're pitching. You should know the investors that
Investors
you're
as
pitching
well.
to. Yes, exactly. And then how did you actually get to Brazil and into that market?
So a year ago in July, I was invited by Swissnex in Brazil to come to the Amazon region and learn a bit more about bioeconomy in the Amazon. So the best way on kind of getting to know the ecosystem, validating our solution, because we're also in contact with smallholder farmer groups, and then also finding people like field partners and connecting with these people where we can actually start to test. And we, through Swissnex, through this program, we actually got to know Amastrace. They are our current field partner. They are doing a traceability solution for smallholder farmer groups in the Amazon region. They are locals. So they already have a group of farmers. They gain the trust, and this is very important. And where we come in, we actually come in with the financial infrastructure, because this is the biggest need they need. And we are partnering very well, right? They can come in with the farmer, with the access to the farmers, and we come in with the financial infrastructure. And this was all happening due to the program. And then I was re-invited for COP30, and this was actually the best platform for me also to connect with the leaders in the nature finance area, with the financial institution in these countries. And that accelerated a lot on where we stand now, because the outcome, we are soon launching, end of year, we are launching our MVP in Brazil with the biochar carbon removal project, with the first cooperative, Coafra, with 140 açaí farmers. And at the moment, we have all the players on board, right? We have the farmer group, we have the field partner that is needed to actually build up these projects. We have the financial institutions who are interested, and we have also the carbon buyers that we are talking to. So we can, in the end, test it end to end, which also gives us then at the next stage the proof of market.
And when you look into the future and you envision what you want to achieve with Reilo, what actually changes for the people that you're working with if everything goes to plan?
Actually, a lot, right? If everything goes to plan, our model can bring for smallholder farmers, first of all, access to finance, but also additional revenue streams. In the biochar carbon removal project, for example, there are 2 different revenue streams where they can strengthen their whole positioning on the market and have better prices, can kind of increase. And this is something obviously also not only cooperatives can do, but also on a smaller level, associations. So we can help kind of bring power back based on the commodities that they are selling to smallholder farmer groups. Then for the bank, on the other hand, we are kind of opening them a market which is currently invisible to them. And it's a very interesting market, right? It's profitable because smallholder farmers, they are willing to pay the interest fees if they are fair, obviously, and if the risks are aligned well. And this is something that the bank obviously is profiting quite well. And on the other hand, the third one is the planet. And there actually everyone should be interested in.
True.
Because it's not a one-man show. Everyone should be involved.
Yeah.
And for us, the smallholder farmer has a very big stake in this, because they are producing they cannot only protect our nature and restore our nature, but they also produce our food.
Yeah.
So food security in the near future will be a huge topic. And when agro-industries, the big ones, are failing because they are only having monocultures, smallholder farmers will produce our food.
Yeah.
So the impacts would be huge. Yeah.
Are there any other markets that you already are testing or seeing that could be possible for Reilo to enter?
We are not analyzing new markets, but on the other hand, we got a lot of requests.
Oh, cool.
So I've met people in Colombia, they are very interested. I've met people from Peru and Chile, they are very interested. Also from Kenya on the other end of the world, in Africa. So the need is there.
Yeah.
But we need to go step by step. So our strategy currently is to have the proof of market in Brazil and from there to expand to other markets as well.
That's super interesting. And if you would go back in time before starting Reilo, would you do it the same? Or are there any things that you would do differently?
Good question. I would do it anyway, all over again. When I go back, I think I would do things quicker and involve people quicker rather than just being perfect in everything and having the best pitch deck, Yeah. And I think this would also accelerate the process quite a lot.
And as a founder, do you have any resources that you can recommend to our listeners? I don't know, it could be books or podcasts or any tools that helped you?
So as a founder, I think I had the best school doing my master's in business innovation in St. Gallen, because this actually gave me all the tools I need to become a founder.
That's cool.
On the other hand, to learn about these countries, I always advise to go there and check the facts yourself, because I was reading so many papers and in so many times, the reality is different on the ground.
Yeah, that's a good one. And before we go into our rapid fire question round, I would like to know what's next in store for Reilo. What are your current next steps that you're planning?
So our current next steps is launching our MVP, the biochar carbon removal project in the Amazon region of Brazil, in Pará. And there we have all the partners that are required on board. And this needs preparation. So that's what we are currently doing, right? Yeah. We are preparing to launch it end of year.
Oh, exciting.
Yes.
We'll definitely watch out for that. And now we'll finish with our rapid fire round. So I'll ask you a question and you say the first thing that resonates with you, that pops into your head. What motivates you on the hard days?
Small updates from the field. For example, we have a chat with the farmers in Tanzania, and they are sending me some pictures when they are actually kind of seeing something in their forest plots. For example, a monkey was sent, and that's very cute. Yeah,
that's nice. Then you can really see like you can see the things that you're working with. That's really cool. Climate impact or financial returns?
Both. Because you need both to build sustainable solution.
Mm-hmm. And then one thing you had to learn quickly as a founder?
Being bold and don't be perfect.
Nice. Thank you so much. It was such an interesting topic. I think it's super important, and I'm really, really eager to see what happens with Reilo and the MVP, obviously. And I hope we'll have you on the podcast soon again with really cool news to share.
Sure, yes. And to the whole audience out there, if you have any questions on our project or you want to co-develop the projects with us, let's make smallholder finance work and make nature bankable together.
Perfect last words. Thank you so much, Rahel.
Thank you.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, you can support us by rating our show on Apple Podcasts. This way, we can reach an ever-growing number of aspiring entrepreneurs.